Hello, I'm Madeline Lunny. I recently had the opportunity to interview a visionary thinker and writer named Petrus. Through a lifelong practice of meditation and 10 years of making and using sacred geometry structures, Petrus has developed an understanding of the next phase of our collective life. He's described himself as a kind of a scout for a new earth. Nowadays we hear a lot about 2012 and the coming of a new age, but not much of the information about this on the internet addresses what a new age means for us as human beings. So I offer this interview with Petrus to provide a fuller perspective. I'm Madeline Lunny and I'm here today with Petrus. You're the author of the Butterfly Trilogy and the Discourses, books that deal with the evolution of human consciousness. You say that our consciousness is about to change in a fundamental way and that this will lead to an entirely new reality on Earth.
Yes.
How does this relate to various things we're hearing about 2012?
Well, people sense that major change is upon us, and the year 2012 has become a kind of marker in popular discourse for that idea that something big is about to happen. There is talk about the end of time, which some people take to mean apocalypse or global devastation. My feeling is that the world as we know it is coming to an end, but a completely different and much happier reality will begin. And this is why I use the term New Earth.
And do you agree that this shift will happen in 2012?
We're talking about the end of an entire age, which has lasted for thousands of years. And we're talking about the start of a new age, a new reality that is completely different and new in nature. So, will that happen in a particular year? Maybe, and maybe not. There is no doubt that we've come to a tipping point. Our old experience of life is already giving way to a fundamentally new kind of human experience. It may take generations for a new society to evolve out of this new foundation of experience. On the other hand, the old structures may dissolve quite quickly. So we may go into a very fluid state for several years, and I agree that this could happen soon.
Do you foresee this being catastrophic?
No, these changes don't need to be destructive at all. We need to distinguish between the collapse of old ideas and institutions, which I believe is coming, and the biological and social integrity of our species, which I believe is surging upward. Humanity is powerfully creative and resilient, even running on such a small fraction of our potential as we have been. As our old order of fear and conflict and poverty is washed away, we will adapt and create new ways of life that reflect our new needs, our new values. And we will be using much more of our potential as we grow. So, in a nutshell, it's going to be a wonderful and life-renewing adventure, exactly the opposite of what Hollywood is telling us.
Are these changes only about humanity, or do they also relate to our planet and the heavenly bodies?
Earth changes certainly relate to wider cycles in the universe. We are part of this universe, and its movements don't just affect us. We're actually part of them. We're inside them. But our science isn't yet conversant with the greater levels of order in the universe. For example, it was only about 10 years ago that all the astronomers agreed that our sun orbits this galaxy. So when it comes to 2012, we get a lot of speculation about cosmic cycles and diverse ideas that are difficult to pull together into a coherent account.
And can you sort this out for us today?
I just want to observe that we are part of many cycles, large and small, and the key to understanding 2012 is recognizing that they all bring changes in levels of light. It is these changes in levels of light that are the key to developing a sense of what's happening. So, we know that the rotation of the Earth brings our night and our day. We know that the orbit of our moon around our planet brings changes in tides and in moonlight. And we know that Earth's orbit around the sun brings the seasons, with the shorter and colder days of winter giving way to the longer and warmer days of spring. We're comfortable with these local cycles and we take them for granted, but we now face the challenge of getting to grips with much larger cycles. For example, our solar system orbits the Milky Way galaxy. This cycle will also bring changes in available light. So, in the middle of the night or the middle of the day, we don't notice changes in light. But at sunrise or at sunset, we do notice dramatic changes in light. So we have these long periods of very gradual change that go more or less unnoticed. And then we have these rather dramatic change points which are rapid and which signal a new phase in the cycle. And everybody pays attention to them. We can observe these change points at levels we know, such as the daily return of light at the dawn and the seasonal return of light at the spring. But in the course of the much larger celestial cycles, which our science is just beginning to perceive, there will also be periods of dramatic change. And these periods could happen in a year or 20 and bring a lot of light and a lot of change. And nobody would have any precedent for understanding what was happening because this hadn't happened for thousands of years. So we know about the morning, we know about the spring, but we don't know about this millennial sunrise.
The movie 2012 puts forward the idea of global cataclysm, a great flood, echoing the story of Noah and the ark.
Yes, and that's part of a much wider pattern of telling people that humanity is in big trouble, that the world is ending. But the truth is that humanity is about to make a big leap forward. The image of a great flood is compelling because it actually happened. But it happened at another point in our galactic orbit, at celestial midnight, in the depth of our darkness. But now we're coming to a celestial sunrise, when available light surges upward. This drives the opening of human consciousness, much as fresh light in the morning prompts a flower to open its petals. It's a much more positive scenario.
So the turning of the heavenly bodies has brought us to the start of a new epoch.
Yes.
And this change corresponds to the dawn or the spring, in that energy and consciousness will be dramatically expanded.
Yes, we're already in a transition period, much like the dawn, and a major shift will come with our celestial sunrise. This means, to me, that light from a higher order sun, around which our galaxy rotates, will suddenly become much stronger here on Earth. The volume and potency of this light will make our old experience impossible. Our old Earth will end, and a new Earth will begin.
So the end of time attributed to the Mayan calendar is good news.
Yes, absolutely. We'll graduate from the prison of linear time where we're trapped between a bitter past and a threatening future. We'll find ourselves instead living in an eternal present, always connected to the source of life. Then we'll be free to create the life that we've longed for. We'll experience unity, love, peace, freedom, beauty, true knowledge. These things won't merely be ideals. We will live them.
Should people attempt to prepare for this change? Can they prepare?
Well, external preparations that involve, for example, physical infrastructure may prove to be irrelevant. We're talking about change on a cosmic scale, things we can barely visualize right now. Yet I believe that all of us can prepare ourselves within. This is where we can usefully put our attention and effort.
What do you mean by internal preparation? What kinds of things do you encourage people to do in order to enter Earth's next age?
Well, I like to speak of our passage to New Earth as a migration. We're traveling to a new reality with new frequencies, new dimensions, a fundamentally different experience of time, space, thought, and feeling. So because I think of us as travelers, I've made a list of 12 travel tips. These tips call for interior preparations that we make inside ourselves, because the passage to New Earth lies within our hearts.
Thank you, Petrus. The next short video in this series shares these tips for traveling to New Earth.